Hello, welcome to a Soulprint Mini. Today, I want to take a look at Todd Blanche. Okay, so this is Trump's lawyer in the hush money case. So I looked at some. Was looking for some basic information on him. So this is kind of curious. First of all, he was with a really big New York law firm and a registered Democrat. He gave that up to basically have his own firm where pretty much can't say his only, but certainly his biggest client is Donald Trump. He's now registered as a Republican and has bought a home. He's shuffled his whole family to Florida. This is the thing. He was known as a really, really good prosecutor. He worked like with Alvin Bragg. Um, this is only his second criminal defense case. He's not a defense attorney. He doesn't have the kind of experience that, probably in just to control a client like Trump, you would think he would need to have. So, what happened, right? Well, apparently he got told by Judge Marchand that, you know what? You're losing your credibility with this court. Now, apparently, if you're a lawyer and you get told that by a judge, it's like really, really bad. Okay. It's like just hang your head and go home because that is going to be a really hard thing to recover from. The evidentiary hearing pertaining to the gag order did not go well for Bland or Trump, and the judge has sort of reserved. Um, like he didn't make a ruling right at the time. I imagine that's going to come out on Thursday or Friday. It doesn't feel like it's going to take a long time to circle back, mostly because as the longer there isn't some sort of a resolution, Trump's is just going to keep on keeping on, right? But I was watching. Well, I wasn't watching. I was looking at some of the pictures from court, and then of course you always see him standing beside Trump when Trump does those impromptu, press conferences. He's not looking like a happy man. He's not. I wonder if, as he's sitting there and he's listening just to what David Pecker has to say. I wonder if he sees like his life flash before his eyes because you got to figure he realizes he must realize that he is fighting an uphill battle. But this is it. It's like he's trying to climb. This is the picture they just showed me. He's trying to climb a mountain made of ice in a pair of dress shoes. There's no traction. He doesn't have a way to soften soften the information because the prosecution, this is like day two, and there's so much that has already been lined up, and how he's going to defend this, how he's going to do a cross-examination, I don't know. It's going to be fascinating to watch. So I wanted to just sort of step into the energy between um, Tom Blanche and Donald Trump and see what's going on there because it feels like there are times that maybe they're not so quite exactly happy with each other. So let's take a peek at that, shall we? Okay, so yeah, you know what? He's like really frustrated. In fact, interestingly, they both are. All right, they're both frustrated because the the narrative that is coming out just from David Pecker alone is contrary to Trump saying he didn't know anything, he was out of the loop. He didn't even, have an affair, right? He didn't do any of the stuff he's being accused of. But that's a narrative that Trump keeps pushing. And Land doesn't seem to be able to push back. Now, does that surprise any of us? It does not, because why? You already have, what is it, 3 or 4 of Trump's previous lawyers are now witnesses against him, okay, in various cases. So we've figured out by now that Trump is like really uncontrollable and that he will force and push the story he wants to force and push. And as a lawyer, you just better be parroting it. I mean, look, Haba. Perfect example of somebody who just goes out there, doesn't make sense, doesn't have to make sense. She just parrots whatever he wants her to say. So good old Tom there seems to be finding himself, stuck literally, between a rock and a hard place, right? He doesn't have a ton of experience as a defense lawyer to start with, and now he probably has what is arguably the worst client, possibly in, I don't know, like US history. So he is really, Tom is really like struggling because he, on the one hand, he's sort of like enamored with Trump, and it's that whatever that is, that sort of spell that people fall under when they're around Trump. That's part of what's going on with him. It's part of the reason he doesn't seem to be able to push back. He also doesn't have kind of the experience to push back. He recognizes that his reputation is taking a real hit. And as of right now, he does not have a solid plan as to how he's going to push back on this. Now, on the other hand, you have Trump, who's just frustrated because, people are saying things about him and, well, they're just not very nice. And they just don't quite show him in the light that he wants to be shown in. Now, when I was preparing to do this little mini, I was watching, some of the coverage, and they were saying that Trump today was kind of more composed, right? He was calmer. He wasn't, he was making his faces. He was doing what he does, but he wasn't expressing significant agitation. And I kind of was like, why not? There's David Pecker talking about how, Trump's a micromanager, nothing goes on that Trump doesn't know about. Trump absolutely was part of the meetings when they talked about how they were going to do what they were doing, and they were going to, make sure that they were, doing whatever they could to only push really positive information about Trump and trash everybody else. But he just somehow didn't seem to be reacting, I guess maybe as strongly as, sorry, there's a little tiny bug flying around me. Spring is here, yay! Sort of as I would have expected. This is what I got told. He doesn't actually understand. He doesn't understand that what is being said is not helping him. And the fact that David Pecker apparently is a very kind of laid back, very calm sort of witness. He's not apparently kind of really looking like he's leaning one way or the other. He's just sort of telling the story the way the story unfolded. It's as if Trump doesn't quite grasp why what he's saying is not helpful to him because you have to recognize that whether it was accurate or not at the time, in this space, Trump has convinced himself that anything he did was fine. It was legal. It was acceptable. Everybody else does it. Of course, he should too. He had no political experience, but he felt that however he conducted himself as a politician, um, someone on the campaign trail trying to get elected, that whatever he did was fine. It just wasn't an issue. And you can see that reflected. Tom Bland, what did he say in opening statement? Something to the effect of, and by the way, it's perfectly acceptable to try to influence an election. It's called democracy. No, no, no. That's called election interference. Okay, that's not democracy. But there's sort of this kind of uh, fuzziness around Trump's brain. He's not getting it. He doesn't understand it. And so, as David Pecker is saying things that are not particularly helpful to Trump, Trump's not reacting to them because he's not actually understanding that maybe they're not all that helpful. What he is seeing is that Pecker isn't being mean. He isn't saying terrible things. Um, he Trump doesn't feel attacked by him. And so he's sort of absorbing it in a much calmer manner, except the reality is he's calm because he doesn't actually understand the implications of what is being said and how that is going to go into a narrative that tells a story. So the dynamic between the two of them is it's like a push and pull, right? Bland says we're going to do this, and Trump says no, we're going to do this. And Tom Bland, for some reason, is of the opinion that they can reach some sort of a compromise, and they're not. Now, maybe in Tom's head they are, right? Because he sort of he feels like he is minimizing at least some of the damage that would be done if he did everything the way, Trump wanted it done. Again, reference Aileen Happa. So, where does this take us? Well, as of right now, it takes us with a lawyer who had a very, very good reputation, who now energetically is struggling. He's worn out, he's tired. He recognizes that he's not making any headway. He recognizes that he can't control Trump. He can't kind of get Trump to behave. And he recognizes that he doesn't have the ability to do that. Okay. It's not like Trump is misbehaving because, Tom didn't bother to explain to him how he should act in court. It doesn't matter if you explain to him or not. Trump's going to do what Trump's going to do. So that's where we're at. So as this unfolds, I think that you're going to see increased frustration, both of them with each other, and ultimately Judge Marchand with each of them. Because for right now, energetically, it really does feel like Tom doesn't have a lot to work with. I'm being reminded, and I can't remember which case it was, but there was a case where um, the the defense cross-examined. I think it was the Eugene Carroll case. Cross-examined but did not actually put up their own defense case. And as of right now, I can't say that's what's going to happen, but it certainly has that kind of energy around it, where at some point you recognize that you are trying to defend the indefensible. You are trying to dismiss, basically stacks of evidence. This is a paper case, right? You did this, here's the document. That I'll say it this way, as of right now, it wouldn't surprise me if there actually was not a defense done, a defense put up, or if there is, that it is very, very limited and very short, because there's so much stuff that's going to come out over the next, couple of weeks, that in some ways he just would like people to forget that they actually heard it. So that's where we're at with those two. So what you have is just a whole lot of frustration. Everybody's kind of a little cranky with everybody else, and I don't see that getting better as we go forward. And again, as you are consuming this news, recognize that Trump doesn't he doesn't grasp it for some reason. Um, you know, he's coming out and he's doing these press things, but he's not raging. He's not furious. He comes out and he says, this is like a kangaroo court, and this is a witch hunt, and this is this, and this is that. Part of the reason for that is, again, he doesn't get it. Okay, that's what I know. Please put your questions in the comment section below for Pendulum Friday. And thank you very, very much for being here. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.